DOTE.
Welcome to the advanced tutorial for how to work with DOTE projects. Hopefully you've taken a look at the basic tutorial, and this will try to add some of the other functionality and how to work with projects and understand their structure in a deeper way. So here we are at the help guide, what are DOTE projects, and we covered in the basic one about the basic folder structure. If you click on this link, it will show you a much deeper sense of the structure of the projects that might be useful for you. And here I have that here. What I'm going to just do is shrink it down so we can see. And this one is giving us more information about the structure. And what you may notice is that we have the same documents folder, and then maybe my DOTE projects or DOTE projects, and then we have our first project and then a transcript. But now we get some idea of what's contained in these folders. And some of these are hidden files, which means you don't see them unless you've turned on Show Me Hidden Files on your operating system, on your computer. So what you'll normally see is just some media and a text file. But just to give you some idea quickly what is involved, all the media files will be stored, but also their waveforms will be stored. And that's a hidden file. So that's a generated waveform that allows us to show waveforms in the timeline and in the video queue timeline. There's also a project JSON, which is a file that contains certain information necessary to know what a project is. And then in the transcript folder, you have your transcript.txt, which is plain text. You can inspect that. But you've also got two other important media hidden files. One to tell how the transcript needs to be formatted and how sync codes work, and then one that deals with the media and how the media that are in the project folder are organized for this particular transcript. And then there's some things to do with Git, which is necessary for version control. So take a look at the version control tutorial for auto backups and checkpoints if you want to know anything about that. But these are hidden. If you delete any of these files, these hidden files, then DOTE will not work. It won't know quite what to do, and will just reset the transcript to its base form or the project. So please do not edit these manually or delete them. They are there for good reason, and you don't really need to know much more about them. There's also an autosaves folder, which is where auto backups are kept, and there's also a Git folder, and in that is all sorts of information kept for tracking version control. So please don't delete those two folders inside every transcript folder. And that means all the media is contained in one level of the project, and all the transcripts can reuse those media. They don't need to have those media regenerated, which means if you create new projects, you have to populate it with media. And if you create new transcripts, you don't have to worry. It's got the same media available. You can activate any one of the media in your new transcript. So these transcripts are quite lightweight. They're very small. They're all plain text, whereas the project folder is actually full of media files, or one media file if you've got a very simple project. Okay, so that hopefully gives you some idea. And here we can see in a second project we have a 360 video and a 2D video with waveforms. We've got an audio with a waveform, and then the project hidden file. So all we would see is audio and 2D video and 360 video if we just took a cursory glance inside the folder. So that gives you some idea of, it's a bit more complicated than this, but you don't really need to know that unless you're interested in the way DOTE is structured, and that might help you understand some of its behavior. So let's move over to looking at DOTE. And here we have the Lego demo project. We can see up here that we have the DOTE Lego project, and we have a particular transcript, the Lego transcript in the Jefferson Pro Multimedia DOTE Lego project, the Lego transcript Jefferson version in the DOTE Lego project. So you always get an idea here of what the project is, and then what the transcript is inside that project that you've got currently open. And as we know, if you say File, Open, and also Control O, so Control O opens the project transcript browsing panels, which allows us to quickly access system folders and jump around and look in particular folders and look at bookmarks we've made. We can have a long list of bookmarks and the 5 most recent transcripts we've opened, as well as what we find in sort of searching down the folder structure, all subfolders to find all transcripts are possible. So if you have a lot of projects and embedded projects in your my DOTE projects, you'll find a long list here at that particular level of all the transcripts available. So these are different ways of getting to where you need to get. If you have projects all over the place on multiple drives and external drives, you can add bookmarks to all of those here. If that drive is not accessible, then you won't be able to click the bookmark, it won't work, because of course you can't access it. But otherwise you'll be able to quickly access all your important places that you might have kept. So I have things across 15, 20 different folders across multiple drives and I can quickly jump to those. They don't all have to be in one folder in one drive. Okay, so how do we import a project? You can go to Import Project from File, which you may have done already for this DOTE Lego demo project, and you can also import a transcript. And if you do that Import Project from File, it says, well, where is it? So you need to find that particular file that was exported from DOTE, and if you import the transcript, it says where is it. And so if you can find those, you can either import a brand new project, and you need to decide where that will go, or you can import a transcript into the current project. So our transcripts have to have a project as a container, as a parent. So you can import any transcript, but you wouldn't import a transcript that isn't designed for the media in that project. If it's a transcript of some other data, it's just not going to work. Okay, so now we've got sort of the conceptual basis of how projects and transcripts work. We're not going to go any more into exporting and importing. There'll be another video for that. What about creating a new transcript in a project? So we've got this project open. I can say new transcript, and it will say, well, what's the name of this transcript and which conventions do I want? And that's all you need to choose, and it will create a new transcript inside this particular project, and it will be blank. So that's one way to start working with a brand new transcript for the same media that you have, your same data, video data and audio data that you have in your project. So that's a very simple case. What you can also do is create a new project, and that's now going to be a completely new project. You need a name. You need a name for your first transcript, conventions, and then the parent folder. So if I select folder, I've got my DOTE projects here on an external drive. I can put it in here as well, or choose another location somewhere else. And once I've got that parent folder, then that's where this project will be stored. With this first transcript will be given this name. Okay, so that's a way, a bit more information you need to know about constructing the container, the project, and then the transcript, and where you want it, and what conventions you might need. If you do that, then it will open that up, and it will be a blank transcript with no media in it, and then you have to look at the media manager, look at that video tutorial, look at the editor tutorial or help guide online, and then you'll have to build up your transcript from scratch with your new media data. So that's not what you do if you're going to be working with the same media data. You just create a new transcript. Okay, so what else can we do? We've covered importing. We won't cover exporting because that's connected, and that's in another video. The other thing you can do, besides just saving the current transcript you're working on, is save as new transcript. So let's say we want to save this as a new transcript. That means take major elements of this current transcript in this project and make a new transcript in this project, but only retaining some or all of the features. So for example, I have to give it a name. So as soon as I give it a name that's unique, so new, it's going to work. If I give it a name that's already there, it's going to not like that. So you need to put a valid name. And then do I want to include the checkpoint history? Check out version control tutorial and help guide for more information on the checkpoints up here, or backup history, the auto backups. If you want to retain those, for example, having a history of your changes and your backups in your new, but if you don't, you would just tick those off. Do I want to copy the transcript text? That means, do I want this text or not? If I want to reuse it for some reason and start working on it in a new way, I can keep it. Otherwise, I could take it off. Do I want the sync codes? Check out the tutorial and help guide on that. Then it might be, I don't want the text. I just want the sync codes left that sync up nicely, and I'm going to start a whole new transcript. But I want to have the sync codes because that took a bit of time to do. So I'll keep those maybe, and video cues, maybe the video cues I want to keep too, because they're actually pretty nice, and they zoom around and pan in on the video just exactly where I need, so I'll keep those. But it might be you want to focus on something else going on in the video, and therefore you have to make new video cues, so you would take that off. And then do you want to open it or just create it but stay where you are, so you can decide that. And when you say save, it will actually save the data that you've chosen and either open the new transcript or it will be sitting there behind the scenes. So you've got a number of choices here that allow you to duplicate your transcript in a form that allows you to work on it. For example, you might be you've worked on a transcript and you want to create a new sort of derivation of it, a branch of it, which you want to start working specifically on certain phenomena that you don't want to include in your original one. So then you would just branch off from that. For example, you might want to create a Mondardian convention transcript from your Jeffersonian. So you want to keep all your sync codes and maybe your video cues, but you don't want the text. So if you do that, you'll keep those and then you can start working on a Mondardian system. When you create this, it will be the same. It will be the same as conventions as the original, but you can just go to your transcript options and change that to Mondardian or back to Jeffersonian if it was Mondardian as the original. So you can change at any time the conventions your transcript is drawing upon. And at the moment we support 2, as in the conventions in the help guide and in a tutorial. I'll cancel that, but you can imagine how that will create a new transcript. So I've covered some of the extra functionality, more advanced functionality, and the deeper sense of the structure of projects and transcripts. Our recommendation is, if you go to the help guide, there's some discussion about where should you store your transcripts and your projects. And we really strongly recommend not to store them on Dropbox or other cloud services, because there's often a delay in those cloud services. Also, if other people are accessing those and they access the transcript at the same time, it will corrupt the files, because you cannot have 2 people at the same time working, so it will actually cause havoc. And the delay, especially for checkpoints, auto backups and restoration and other, if you've got very, very long transcripts, to parse the transcript, because the transcript is being parsed all the time. Every time you make a single change, it's being reparsed. That will slow down as it has to access files across the internet. So it's best, this is a desktop solution, it's not a cloud-based software, so we really recommend that you have it on a drive on your computer, or an external drive, and preferably an SSD drive as fast as possible, especially as you see here with the Media Manager. We have multiple media and we're switching between them. You can see, you can try it yourself in the demo or look at the video cues and video panel tutorials and help guide. Then you'll see that to be able to switch between 4K video quickly, you need to have a very fast drive, and an SSD drive is much preferred. Okay, so if you're unsure about some of that, then take a look at the help guide to see how we discuss the ins and outs of storage of your projects. But the key thing is, you don't need to have them in one place. You can have different projects or sets of projects in different locations and move between those.